Guy next to me had a $2,400 setup. Shimano Chronarch reel, Megabass Vision rod, a tackle box that probably cost more than his last car payment. He caught 2 bass in 2 hours. Old man 3 spots down. No name brand anything. Fishing shirt he's been wearing since the Clinton administration. Pulled 41 bass out of the same water. Same lake. Same morning. Same 2 hours. The difference? A piece of copper wire he cut off an old electrical spool he bought at a garage sale in Knoxville for $1. That spool's been covering his fishing trips for 3 years straight. 15 cents per hook wrap. Maybe less. I watched the guy with the Shimano walk over and ask what the hell was happening. Old man just smiled and said, "Ain't about the gear, son. If you fish bass anywhere in the U.S., a farm pond in Georgia, a reservoir channel in Texas, a river bend in the Carolinas, docks on Lake Okeechobee. This method works. And the reason Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, and every sponsored channel on YouTube will never bring this up is dead simple. It costs 15 cents, and you get it at Home Depot, not their store. The fishing industry moves $48 billion a year selling you gear. A copper wire from the hardware aisle doesn't move a single dollar their way. After you see what this wire does to a bass's brain, you'll never load your tackle box the same way again. When you try this, and you will, come back here and drop "I caught more" in the comments. That one line tells me everything I need to know. Now, the wire is just the first piece. There's a full system behind why it works, and that system is what separates the guys who fill a cooler from the ones who stand there watching it happen. Stay with me, because what comes next is what the fishing industry spent 50 years hoping you'd never put together. That old man didn't just know about the wire. He knew where to drop it, when to be there, and how bass would move before they moved. That's not luck. That's reading water, and most guys never learn it because nobody's putting it on a blister pack at the Bass Pro checkout. There's an ebook called High-Level Fishing, The Water Game. It shows you how to read current seams, find submerged structure in murky water, track bass movement through temperature changes, and predict feeding windows before your first cast. The kind of thing old-timers spent 40 years figuring out on their own. On the water. The hard way. Normally, $99.90. Right now, it's $14.92. Limited time. Links in the description. Get it? Read the water section. Then let me walk you through the biology behind the wire. Because once you get it, everything in that book is going to click in a completely different way. Here's why the copper wire isn't a trick. It's physics running against the fish's own wiring. Bass have a lateral line along the full length of their body. A pressure-sensing system so precise it can feel a crawfish shift position 6 feet away in 0 visibility. But the lateral line doesn't just sense movement. It picks up electrical fields in the water. When copper wire touches a steel hook in water, those two different metals create a galvanic couple. A continuous microcurrent, right around 300,000 microvolts, flows between them the instant they hit the water. No battery, no charger, just two metals in a conductive liquid. That current radiates outward into the water column as a bioelectric field, and bass don't decide to respond to it. Their nervous system fires before their brain catches up. Virginia Commonwealth University ran the numbers on this. Catfish neuromasts triggered within 11 milliseconds of detecting a galvanic field. The fish turns toward your hook before it consciously processes why. That's not instinct in the loose sense. That's electroreception, the same mechanism sharks use to hunt in total darkness. On top of the electrical signal, fresh copper oxidizes the instant it hits water and starts releasing copper ions into the current. Bass have chemoreceptors in their nasal sacs that operate at parts per billion sensitivity. The ion trail moves downstream like a flare signal that says something metallic and alive is here. The predatory response fires. The attack isn't planned, it's triggered. That $34.99 scent spray at Cabela's? Same basic concept, except it's synthetic compounds in a petroleum base, and base evolved over millions of years reading natural metal ion signatures as indicators of live prey activity. You're not faking anything with the wire. You're speaking the language their nervous system already knows. And here's what makes this even more absurd. The wire does all of this passively, just by sitting in the water. You don't have to do anything special. You just have to set it up right. I'll walk you through every step right now. But there's one thing that destroys the whole rig before the fish ever sees it. And I'll get to that before we're done. Here's what you need. Write this down or screenshot the screen. 22-gauge solid copper wire. Not stranded, not plastic-coated. Bare, solid copper. Home Depot and Lowe's both carry a 50-foot spool for $2.87. That spool covers 40 to 60 fishing trips. Think about the last bottle of liquid scent you bought. How many trips did that last you? 3? Cut a piece 4 inches long. Take 400 grit sandpaper. 3 quick passes, and knock off the surface oxidation. You want fresh copper forming its galvanic field in the water, not from sitting in a tackle tray for a month. Wrap the wire tight around the hook shank. Start just below the eye. Coil down toward the bend. 8 to 10 tight wraps. No gaps. Leave about half an inch free at the bend end. That's your tail. Don't cut it. That free end moves in the current and increases the metal surface area in contact with the water, which amplifies the galvanic output. Crimp the top end with pliers so it stays put. Bottom end, leave it loose. That's the entire build. 90 seconds. About 0.07 per hook wrap when you spread the spool across 40 trips. Pair this with a soft plastic on a Texas rig if you're after largemouth in Alabama, Tennessee, or the Carolinas. For smallmouth on northern rivers, Susquehanna, Delaware, James River, run the wire alone on a jig head and bounce it along the bottom. Let the current carry the ion trail downstream to where the fish is holding. After every cast, don't move it for 30 full seconds. That's the step most people blow. The galvanic field needs time to build, and the copper ions need to release into the current. That first 30-second window is the hottest moment of the whole presentation. Most guys yank it out in 10 seconds and wonder why nothing touched it. Wait. Then work it slow. Store your pre-wrapped hooks dry. An Altoids tin with a strip of dry paper towel inside works perfectly and costs nothing. Moisture before the cast accelerates oxidation and kills the fresh surface effect. Keep them dry until they hit the water. Total cost, wire, sandpaper, pliers if you don't already own a pair, under $5 one time for a full season of rigs. Grab your phone right now and send this video to that friend who spent $400 at Bass Pro last Saturday and came home with 3 fish. He'll either thank you at the next boat ramp or stop talking to you because you just wrecked his excuse for buying more gear. Either way, you did him a favor. But here's the thing. The wire only does its job if you put it in the right water at the right time. Wrong spot, wrong hour, and nothing you wrap on that hook matters. So let me show you exactly where to drop it, and the one move that kills the whole rig dead before the fish ever gets near it. Bass don't cruise open water in daylight. They sit in ambush, tight to structure, in shade, where current breaks and bait fish stack up. On a lake, you want submerged timber, bridge pilings, laydowns along the bank, and the edge where a flat drops into depth. That 41 base morning, the old man never moved more than 80 feet total in 2 hours. 3 spots, all of them within casting distance of a submerged log or a dock piling. He didn't fish the lake. He fished the spots where bass sit and wait for the food to come to them. On rivers, especially in the southeast and the mid-Atlantic, look for current breaks behind boulders, eddies behind bridge supports, and the seam where a feeder creek dumps into the main channel. The galvanic signal travels downstream. Cast upstream of the structure, and let the current carry the field right to where the fish is holding. Timing. Dawn and dusk. Largemouth bass metabolism tracks water temperature directly. Midday in summer, surface temps spike and bass drop deep and slow down. In that 65 to 72 degree water window, which you get in the first 2 hours after sunrise and the 2 hours before dark, their metabolism runs hot, and they're actively feeding. The galvanic signal works all day, but in that temperature band, with a bass already in full hunt mode, it's something else entirely. Now, the error that kills everything you just set up. You did it right. Rig is wrapped, you're in the right spot, it's 6:10 a.m. You reach for the hook, right after spraying your hands with off. Deep woods or rubbing in banana boat. SPF 50. Done. Wasted. Over. DEET from insect repellent and oxybenzone from sunscreen are synthetic compounds. Base chemoreceptors, operating at parts per billion sensitivity, remember, register those compounds as threat signals. Not food, not prey, danger. One touch is enough. You transfer synthetic residue onto the copper surface and contaminate the entire ion signature the wire was about to release into the water column. The fish won't come near it. Game wardens couldn't stop the old man because the technique is completely legal. No bait restrictions, no chemicals, nothing. A $2,400 Shimano setup couldn't outfish him because gear wasn't the variable. One careless hand with sunscreen on it would have ended his morning before the first cast. Unscented soap before you handle any rig. Or nitrile gloves. A box of 100 at Walmart runs $8.97 and covers 2 full seasons. That's the whole fix. 15 cents of copper wire, the right structure, the right hour, clean hands. That's the system. Picture this. You pull up to your spot before sunrise with a tin of pre-wrapped hooks and a rod that's got some honest miles on it. Your buddy shows up with $600 in new gear from Tackle Warehouse still in the bag, tags on, receipt in his pocket just in case. 2 hours later, your cooler has weight in it. His looks like a very expensive way to watch the sun come up over the water. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when you understand what bass actually respond to, not what the marketing budget tells you to buy. The full playbook, reading current, finding structure, predicting feeding windows before the fish even move, is in high-level fishing, the water game. $14.92 right now, link in the description. It's the rest of what the old man already knew. Go out this weekend. 1 hook, 1 spot. 30-second pause after the cast. Then come back here and drop, "I caught more" in the comments. That's the only review this method needs.